And what we would do is we would go around the stadium because we were fortunate that it was really close. And I'm walking, and I would see a lot of the homeless people, and I would see a lot of, like, you know, people that weren't homeless, and I would see just people interacting, fans wanting to take pictures, shouting from the cars, Tony! And it was the coolest thing, man. You know, I'll go back to how The Rock, you know, Dwayne Johnson, and he was like, hey, do you know where this and this is at? And everybody would be like, oh, shit, it's The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And having people like that, it was kind of really cool to be able to, and I do that already. You know, I mean, there's something, you know, you're not supposed to tell everybody, you know, when you do a good deed. But it was the night of the weigh-ins. During the week, I saw this one guy, and he was just, I don't know, he was just looking for food. It was the craziest thing. And he just looked like he just needed some help. And here I am, you know, during fight week, and, you know, and the night of the weigh-ins, you know, I had my team, which I ended up making 152.5, by the way, which was crazy. The night of, I was like, remember that guy? And he said, yeah. And I was like, I want to go bring this food to him. And so, like, I got, the UFC made some, like, a food bag for me, which was really cool. I ate a little bit of it, but I also kind of made a grocery run, and I had some extra. So I put a lot of that stuff together, and I'm going to go find this guy. I was like, hopefully, you know, he's somewhere around here. So I went, and my coach was cool because I wanted to walk off some of my food. And we ended up going, and we found this guy, which was really cool. And I was like, hey, dude, I didn't really say much. I didn't go through this stuff and show him what I had. I wasn't trying to make it public. But I put in a bunch of waters in there. Some flavored waters from this, what was the company called? But it was cool. They were just, I liked them. I mean, and there's something that I liked, so I figured that he would like it. It was called H Factor. And I put him in there, and he was like, do you have any water? Do you have anything to drink? And I was like, yeah, bro. And I was going to tell him exactly what I have, but I didn't. I said, hey, you know what? This is for you. I even put a couple of pieces of candy in there. And you know, the one thing that I was always thinking, especially when I was eating my food, was there's a lot of people out there that don't really have what we have, or that the ways to go about it, you know, and, you know, people just, you know, it's just kind of a weird thing. And so, like, that week I went through a lot of different kinds of, not changes, but things that I've always done before, and I carried it with me. And it was kind of enlightening to have that good stuff go throughout the week. You know, signing the autographs for the fans and taking the pictures. And it reminded me why I do the things that I do. And it wasn't for everybody else to see that, because everybody, they just hear the interviews and they just hear the UFC and what they promote. And they don't see the big picture. They don't see the little things that I do that make a big difference to myself or to the person that I do that. So I'm going to be real. Like, fight week was incredible. My team was really good. We had our routine. And going into the fight, like I said, I have no regrets. The only thing that I have regret is to not be able to spend a little bit more time with my family. For one, because obviously you have to be selfish in this. And two is the victory. You know, I tip my hat off to Michael Chandler on that one. You know, but I have to give myself props. In the first round, he didn't have any answer for anything that I was doing. He even wanted the takedown. I mean, he had like one or two shots getting in there, but he didn't like the elbows. You know, I got headbutted a couple of times, which was cool because it's a fight. That's what you do. The ref said what you had to do, and you know, I was trying to kick off the cage and everything. So he was like, get your fingers out of the cage. It was a great battle between two athletes that are at the top tier of the game. There's a lot, obviously, that I can go back and I can try to fix. But like I said, it's props to Michael Chandler for using my fucking move to knock me out. You know, that shit don't happen every day.
Do you remember anything about the finishing sequence?
Just remember not putting pressure. And me trying to figure that out, and I have to go back to my team and ask what, you know, I have to go back into the second round and listen to the commentary and the audio from the corner. But my wrestling coach was saying pressure. I had to talk to him, and he said something about pressure. And I don't know, it was completely different. It was, God told me I wasn't ready, pretty much. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where I have to be able to open myself up and then accept that I have to, one, continue to be coachable. Two, I have to get some sparring in. I haven't sparred in over 3 years, Ariel. Probably a little bit more than that. Like, I'm talking about good sparring, like good team sparring. These guys are out there they're finding like world-class sparring. They have a team. They have all this stuff. I don't really need to have that, but I want to have that. The want and the will is there to be able to go in and get hit again, to hit people, to not feel bad about hurting people again, because that's how it sucks, man. You could ask Rose Namajunas. I guarantee you she doesn't like hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of crazy about that, because we're in the hurt game. But when you get to this high level, and that's what, when I first started, I was hungry. I was hungry for that, and I got that same hunger back. There's no bullshit on that one. I got the same hunger back. I want to go. I want to spar. I want to do damage again. Not to hurt people, but to better myself in my sport. It's like in football. If you're not going out and attempting, because I'm a cornerback. If I have my responsibilities, I'm going to listen to the plays, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to react on those plays. We watched plenty of film in this fight. I knew exactly that Chandler had the flexibility to go for head kicks. Like I said, we worked on a lot of things, and we chopped up his legs, checked up his kicks. I guarantee you, he went to the corner, said my legs hurt, because obviously from the Gaethje fight, I guarantee you he still wasn't healed. And the only part that wasn't probably hurting on his foot was the bottom of it. And he remembered that those kicks hurt when I was throwing them in the first round. I mean, like going back into the second round, it's something that I have to work on, which is obviously I try to keep my hands up most of the time. But when I was circling away, I didn't think that he had the ability to have that reach. I was looking probably for an outside sweep single, trying to bait him in so that way I can do that. But usually I would hit an Imanari roll, but I was thinking maybe possibly I could do something different. So that way, obviously it was just I could demonstrate to myself the things that I've been demonstrating inside the practice room. But that goes into sparring. That goes with having to do and surround yourself around people doing the exact same thing. So that way you get those reactions. So instead of trying them in the octagon like, oh, hey, this is the first time I'm trying this, you're actually going to do that. And in the practice room, you're going to get the natural reaction that you really need. So that way when you're in the cage, you can tell whether or not you're going to do that or not and not hesitate.
Which team do you want to join?
Right now I'm thinking about just being a free agent. I've never, one of my first trainers, my training buddies, when we were first starting, we really didn't have too much fun going into it, so we spent a lot of time together, which is cool. My buddy Joe, he tells me, a closed mouth don't get fed, Tony. I started thinking about that, and I always carry that with me because, obviously you carry good advice. And speaking up is one of the biggest things that person can do. That and confidence. You don't build that unless you take chances. And, in order to be successful, you have to be successful. And that means having the confidence in yourself to be able to do these things. So, I've asked in the last couple of interviews, and I've been blessed to be able to have some people reach out to me. And, the pit, with John Hackelman over there, you'll have, obviously I have my jiu-jitsu team, which I've always loved, and then I have, wild card boxing for my boxing, and my buddy Rashad and my Muay Thai. I have my set guys. But when it goes to a team, I'm kind of thinking just like a free agent right now. Like, that's how I'm starting to think about it, and I'm kind of making my decisions depending on where my heart goes. And right now, the options keep coming in, and I'm very fortunate to be able to have that blessing and that courage to be able to speak up and to be able to say, hey, guys, I need help in this department. Because I've been doing it for a long time, man. I'm doing it by myself, which is really cool, and bringing in solid individuals that have left my efforts with their time and their effort. And we've been really successful, man. I went on a 12-fight win streak, and a lot of those dudes got bloodied up. And aside from that, when the pandemic hit and when Khabib didn't show up and McNuggets, Conor didn't want to come through, it was really hard because I was preparing for these last two individuals. That was, that's how it was supposed to go. That was how the story was supposed to be. But I ended up taking chances because I knew that these guys holding onto the belt and stalling the division. They weren't doing anything. They were just using that for just whatever it was. And me, I'm a competitor. I want to be able to go out there, demonstrate what I have to do. And, the last 4 fights I lost. I got TKO'd, but I didn't go down on the knee. There's there was a saying my mom or my wife said. She was there's a popular guy in Mexico that, he's like, I'd rather have a lot of people taking knees during the national anthem. And, and I felt that. It hit hard. But when I was inside that cage, what stuck with me was when I was in high school, when I won state, this guy, I was taking a knee. I was trying to catch my breath because they had to bring in these alumni to come and train with me and to kick my ass, And I was taking a knee. I remember catching my breath, and this guy in Wayne, he comes up to me and he says,